Okay, students. So in last class, we already started with the introduction of endocrine gland, and I told you that endocrine system is a very important part of the control and coordinating system of the body. And about the endocrine system, I already explained in last class that this is the structure which is without duct. Okay, and they releases their secretion via blood, which reaches to the directly to the body organ or the target organ, and the secretion of these gland is called as hormones, and these hormones are also called as the primary messengers. Okay, and they are non-nutrients because they are not involved in the production of any energy there, and they are also called as intercellular messengers. Fine. So these all things we already discussed, as well as I told you that endocrine glands, various type of the endocrine glands are present in our body, and we start discussion about the first part, and that was about the pituitary and hypothalamus. So let's begin with this topic today. So first of all, I am talking about hypothalamus. Okay, so whenever we talk about the hypothalamus, remember hypothalamus is ectodermal in origin. First of all, remember one thing, it is ectodermal in origin, hypothalamus. Okay, and this hypothalamus is the part of the brain. If you all remember, in the brain there is a part named as forebrain. There is a part in the brain which is called as forebrain, and in the forebrain there is a structure which is named as diencephalon. Okay, so the floor of the diencephalon is made up of hypothalamus. This is hypothalamus actually when we talk. Okay, that is what this is, hypothalamus, remember. So we are talking about the hypothalamus structure. Hypothalamus structure, when we talk about the hypothalamus structure, sometime it is called as supreme commander of endocrine system. It is supreme commander of endocrine system. Remember, of endocrine system. Why it is called a supreme commander of endocrine system? Because it regulates the complete endocrine body structures of the body. Actually, there are certain terms about which we should be clear. Master of the endocrine gland. There may be a one question. Master gland of endocrine system. So master gland of the endocrine system is the term which is used for the pituitary gland. Okay, that is the term which is used for the pituitary gland, the master gland of the endocrine system, or sometime orchestra, band master of endocrine orchestra. That term is used for the pituitary gland. Okay, but now we know that pituitary gland itself is under the control of hypothalamus, and that's why these days hypothalamus is called as the supreme commander. And this supreme commander hypothalamus controls the functioning of the pituitary, and pituitary control the function of other endocrine systems, other endocrine glands. Okay, so please take care of this thing. Now the question comes that how the hypothalamus controls the pituitary. Then please remember, from the hypothalamus, total, if we say 9 different hormones are released from the hypothalamus. 9 different hormones are released. Okay. And these hormones can be categorized in the 2 categories. One are the releasing factors, releasing hormone or releasing factors, which actually stimulate pituitary gland to secrete their hormones. And the another category of the hormone from the hypothalamus which are released are called as inhibitory hormones. Inhibitory hormones. Inhibitory hormones. And these inhibitory hormones actually inhibits the secretion of the hormone from the pituitary gland. So the questions can be asked in the NEET and in your school exams also, that what are the names of these releasing hormones and what are the name of these inhibitory hormones which release from the hypothalamus. So here, if I talk about the names, first of all, ARH. The first hormone is ARH. Okay, what is ARH? Then we say the full form of ARH is adrenocorticotropic releasing hormone. In short, it is called as ARH, adrenocorticotropic releasing hormone, or also named as sometime corticotropin releasing hormone. So this is the first one, which actually stimulate to anterior pituitary gland. Remember, it stimulates anterior pituitary gland to secrete their hormone, which is named as ACTH. The name of this hormone is adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone. This hormone is released from the anterior pituitary gland, and this shows their effect on the adrenal cortex gland. Okay, so from the hypothalamus, first of all, ARH will release. It will stimulate to the anterior pituitary. Then from the anterior pituitary, ACTH will release, which shows their effect on the adrenal cortex gland. So in this way, this is working over there. So first of all, this is okay, first hormone. Then after that, second hormone, if I talk here, and that is TRH. What is the full form of TRH? Then we say thyrotropin releasing hormone. RH means releasing hormone. So now I am not writing the complete RH. Okay, thyrotropin releasing hormone. And this thyrotropin releasing hormone also is induced to the anterior pituitary gland. And under the influence of this hormone TRH, what happened? From the anterior pituitary gland, a hormone is released which is called as TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone. And this thyroid stimulating hormone will stimulate to the thyroid. And under the influence of thyroid TSH, what happens? The thyroid releases their hormone, which will be called as T3 and T4. So the thyroid gland will release T3 and T4 only under the influence of TSH. That's why You might have seen if a person who is suffering from hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism, in them there is a always testing of the TSH is also carried out in the blood, that the TSH from the pituitary is normal or not. Because if TSH is low, then definitely from the thyroid the T3 and T4 secretion will also be low. And if TSH is more, then definitely from the thyroid T3 and T4 secretion will be more. So this all is there under the influence of the hypothalamus. This is the second hormone. Now the third hormone which released from the hypothalamus, and that is what? GHRH, growth hormone releasing factor. GHRH, growth hormone releasing factor. And this is sometimes also called as somatotropin. Other name of this GHRH is somatotropin, remember. And this somatotropin or GHRH also stimulate to the anterior pituitary gland. And under the influence of this, the anterior pituitary gland releases the GH, growth hormone, which shows their effect on the body during the puberty stage. During the puberty stage, you all might have seen that the growth of the body increases, the length of the body increases under the influence of growth hormone. But this growth hormone is under the control of GHRH from the hypothalamus. Fine. Then after that, next, the fourth hormone, releasing hormone, and that is GnRH. GnRH. What is GnRH? Gonadotropin releasing hormone, GnRH. This GnRH also stimulates to the anterior pituitary or anterior pituitary gland. And under the influence of this GnRH, what happened? Anterior pituitary gland releases the two gonadotropin hormones, which are called as FSH and LH. FSH and LH. The full form of FSH is what? Follicle stimulating hormone, FSH. And LH means luteinizing hormone. Okay. These two hormones we will discuss in detail in the pituitary. Basically, these two hormones, FSH and LH, are gonadotropic hormones. That means they are responsible for the development of our gonadial structures, for the production of the sperms in the male, or for the production of the ovums in the female. For that all, it is responsible over there. And that's why they are called as gonadotropin hormone, GTH, in collectively. And that is under the influence of GnRH. And then after that, next releasing hormone, and that next releasing hormone is MSHRH. MSHRH. What is this MSHRH? This is melanocyte stimulating. Melanocyte, okay, stimulating hormone releasing factor. Melanocyte stimulating hormone releasing factor. And this melanocyte stimulating hormone factor stimulates to the middle lobe of the pituitary. Middle lobe of the pituitary, remember, not to the anterior pituitary. It stimulates to the middle lobe of the pituitary, which will be called as pars intermedia. Actually, later on, I'll talk about it. And from this, a hormone released as there, which is named as MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. क्या नाम बोला मैंने? Melanocyte stimulating hormone. This melanocyte stimulating hormone is responsible for the development of the melanin in the body. So more melanocyte stimulating hormone, more melanin is there in the body. And in that way, this is basically responsible there for the tanning of the skin. More melanocyte, more melanin means more tanned body skin color. Okay, the dark skin color will be there in that way. So that is about it. And then after that, the next secretory hormone, releasing hormone is PRH. And what is this PRH? This is prolactin releasing hormone. Now this prolactin releasing hormone also stimulates to the anterior pituitary gland. This also stimulates to anterior pituitary gland, and from the anterior pituitary gland a hormone is released over there which is named as prolactin. And when we'll discuss about the function of this hormone, you'll understand that this prolactin is the hormone which is responsible for the secretion of the milk, for the formation of the milk. Sorry, not for secretion, for the formation of the milk. Okay, so this also under the control of hypothalamus. In this way, you can see out of the nine, the total 6 are the releasing factors actually, which somehow, some or other hormones of the pituitary glands for their secretion, they are basically released over there. Now, here, if I talk about the inhibitory hormones, then inhibitory hormones, as I said, are basically the 3 inhibitory hormones are there, and one by one we are going in the detail of it. And these 3 inhibitory hormones are, if I talk here, the first one is GHIH. Now full form is growth hormone inhibitory hormone, which sometimes also called as here somatostatin. Now see, here I talked about somatotropin, and somatotropin, about this I said that this is a hormone which released from the hypothalamus and increase the secretion of growth hormone from the anterior pituitary. Means it is a stimulating. But here this is a inhibitory hormone, somatotropin. Means this reduces the secretion of the growth hormone from the pituitary gland. For that, this hormone is there, GHIH, growth hormone inhibitory hormone, number 1. Then after that, the next number 2, and that is prolactin inhibitory hormone, PIH. Prolactin inhibitory hormone. And you can understand that this is opposite to the functioning of this PRH. Prolactin releasing hormone is responsible to increase the secretion of prolactin from the anterior pituitary, but this will be against to it. Means prolactin inhibitory hormone will reduce the secretion of prolactin from the anterior pituitary gland. And the third one is here MSHIH, means melanocyte stimulating hormone inhibitory hormone. And you can understand that this is antagonistic, opposite in functioning to the MSHRH, because MSHRH was inducing the middle pituitary to secrete more MSH, and MSHIH will inhibits middle pituitary for more secretion of the MSH hormone. In this way, the total 9 hormones are released from the hypothalamus, and out of these 9, 6 are basically the releasing hormones and the 3 are the basically inhibitory hormones. So now I'm going to talk about the first important endocrine gland, and that is what? pituitary gland. As I told you, pituitary gland is called as master endocrine gland. Okay, it is master endocrine gland or bandmaster of endocrine gland, also called as hypophysis cerebri. The other name, hypophysis cerebri. These are some other names of the pituitary gland. In origin, if I talk about the pituitary gland, in origin, the pituitary gland is ectodermal. It is ectodermal in nature. Okay. And the pituitary gland is located just below the hypothalamus. Just below the hypothalamus. Just below hypothalamus. See, when we talk about the structure of the brain, you might have seen that hypothalamus is this type of the structure. And when I talk about the structure of the pituitary gland, you'll see, let me draw the diagram. This this is the structure of pituitary and hypothalamus, which I am trying to draw here. Now see, this part is the hypothalamus. This part is the hypothalamus. Okay, this one is the hypothalamus. And in this hypothalamus, there are the structure which are called as neurosecretory cells. There are the structure which are called as neurosecretory cells. Just see this kind of the structures, neurosecretory cells. Here, this is the neurosecretory cells in the hypothalamus. And these neurosecretory cells are running through the hypothalamus and reaching to the posterior lobe of the pituitary. In this way, you can see here, these kind of the structures are there. The this is the actually the posterior lobe of the pituitary. Posterior lobe. So these structures are what? They are called as neurosecretory cells of hypothalamus. Remember, very important question, sometime in the NEET it is asked, neurosecretory cells of the hypothalamus. And these neurosecretory cells innervate through their axons, and at their terminal endings you will see that the terminal buttons are there, these kind of the secretory structures. So what is the function of it? These neurosecretory cells of the hypothalamus are basically responsible for the synthesis of the two hormones which are synthesized in the hypothalamus. The one is ADH and the another one is oxytocin. दो हार्मोन है जो कि hypothalamus में synthesize होते हैं. The one is ADH and another is oxytocin. This ADH and oxytocin, after the secretion, release from here and they come and stores into the posterior pituitary here. यहाँ आके through these neural secretory structures, they comes and they get stored into the posterior lobe of the pituitary. And as and when they are required in the body, they are released from the posterior lobe of the body. So remember, ADH and oxytocin stored in the posterior lobe of the pituitary, but they are synthesized in the hypothalamus by neurosecretory cells. This is a very important thing which we all should remember. Number one. Okay. Now, this is what? This is the anterior lobe of the pituitary. This is the anterior lobe of the pituitary. And if you see the middle one, this middle one, let me highlight it. This one, this middle one Okay, a small lobe you will see in the middle is also there. And this is what this is called as middle lobe or intermediate lobe. Intermediate lobe of pituitary gland. And then this one, the complete last one, this one is what? This is the posterior lobe. Okay, so in general, pituitary gland is divided into the three lobes. One is anterior lobe, another one is the intermediate lobe, and the third one is the posterior lobe. Okay, but scientifically, this pituitary is divided into the two lobes, and these two lobes are what? These two lobes are called as adenohypophysis. Adenohypophysis. And this adenohypophysis is comprises of the two part, the anterior lobe and the intermediate lobe, remember. And the second part of the posterior pituitary is neurohypophysis. And this neurohypophysis is comprises of the posterior lobe of the pituitary. So basically, if someone asks you that pituitary is divided into how many lobes, then we must say that pituitary or the hypophysis is divided into the two parts, adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. Adenohypophysis itself is comprises of anterior lobe, intermediate lobe, while the neurohypophysis is comprises of a posterior lobe. In this way, the pituitary gland is divided. So structure of the pituitary is there. Okay, now question comes, where actually it is situated in the body. As I said, you can see very clearly, this is the hypothalamus. So just below the hypothalamus, it is situated into a small depression or in a small cavity of a skull bone. In our skull, there is a bone named as sphenoid. There is a bone named as sphenoid, and this sphenoid bone forms a small cavity named as sella turcica. So in this sella turcica cavity, this is the sphenoid bone which is forming around it a sella turcica cavity. Remember, this is the sella turcica. To make you the things clear, this is sella turcica, and this is what? This is the sphenoid bone. Okay, so there is a bone of the skull named as sphenoid bone, which forms a sella turcica, and in this sella turcica, the hypothalamus is hanged in the form of the pituitary gland with the help of the stalk-like structure. You can see there, this is a stalk-like structure by which through the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland is hanged down over there in this cavity. And this filamentous structure or the stalk-like structure by which the pituitary is hanged in sella turcica, this is called as infundibulum. This is what? Infundibulum. In this way, this is there. Okay. Now, remember one thing, this anterior lobe of the pituitary, this is also called as pars distalis. Remember, this is also called as pars distalis. This intermedia is also called as pars nervosa. Pars intermedia. This is pars intermedia because intermediate is taken. Pars intermedia. And this posterior one is also named as pars nervosa. So the other names for this pars distalis, pars intermedia, and pars nervosa, from which this pituitary gland is synthesized. Now we are going to talk about the infundibulum, basically, which about which someone is asking from you. I said infundibulum is this stalk-like structure. This stalk-like structure, this narrow stalk-like structure is called as infundibulum, by which this is a stalk-like structure. Remember, by which the pituitary is hanged in sella turcica cavity of the sphenoid bone. Okay, that is what this is called, the infundibulum. And remember, the meaning of the infundibulum is always what? A funnel shaped structure. Just see, if you compare it, it is a funnel shaped structure, actually, a funnel shaped structure. So whenever the term infundibulum is used somewhere, then you must remember that means a funnel shaped structure. Like when in class 12, we will discuss about the oviduct, structure of oviduct. There also I will use the same term infundibulum to the part of the oviduct which receives the ovum from the ovary. For that also I will use the term infundibulum. So infundibulum means a stalk-like or funnel-shaped structure by which you can see here the pituitary gland is hanged into the sella turcica cavity. Got it? Now we are talking about the various hormones released from the pituitary gland and their functions one by one. Okay. So from the pituitary gland, if I say total 9 hormones are secreted. From the pituitary gland, total 9 hormones are secreted. Out of these 9 hormones, 7 are synthesized and secreted by the pituitary itself. But the 2, if you remember, ADH and oxytocin, they are only stored here, and as and when they required in the body, they are secreted, because the 2 hormones ADH and oxytocin, they are not synthesized in the pituitary, they are actually synthesized in the hypothalamus. So one by one we will go in the detail of these all hormones. Got it? So first of all, I am talking here about the first hormone from the pituitary gland, which is secreted here, and that first hormone is GH. GH means growth hormone. GH means growth hormone, full form, also called as STH. STH means somatotropin hormone. Somatotropin hormone. And by this, you can understand that this GH or the somatotropin hormone is the hormone which actually stimulates body growth. Okay, body growth. That means this is the hormone which is helping in the lengthening of the bones. You can understand very easily that when you were in the class 6th or 7th or 8th, your height was short. But suddenly when you came in the class 9th and 10th, you might have heard आपके relatives ने बहुत commonly ये चीज कही होगी, अरे एकदम से कितना बड़ा हो गया, इसकी height कितनी बड़ी हो गई. Because when you enter in the puberty stage, in the age of the 12 or 13, when you enter in the puberty stage, from the pituitary gland, this hormone, growth hormone, is released. And this growth hormone is the hormone which is responsible for the body growth. So lengthening of the bones, synthesis of the proteins, protein anabolism, because protein is very necessary for the body growth. Okay, absorption of the calcium, because for the strengthening of the bones, the calcium absorption is required. So absorption of the calcium ion, okay, and conversion of the glycogen to the glucose is promoted over there by the growth hormone. Okay, in this way, this growth hormone is very important for the body growth. Got it? Now question comes that if this hormone is not secreted in the proper amount during the puberty stage, okay, then what kind of the proper problem will be there? Means, if what happened in childhood condition, when you are entering in the puberty stage, in childhood condition, if hyposecretion means low secretion of growth hormone. Okay, hypo means low, hyper means more. Hyposecretion of growth hormone is there, then what? In that case, your body growth will be affected. Your body will not grow properly and you will remain short in height. Okay, and that condition is what? This is called as pituitary dwarfism or simply dwarfism. So a person in which during the childhood condition, if the hormone GH is not secreted in the proper way, then in that case, the person may be suffering from the pituitary dwarfism. And under the pituitary dwarfism, what will be observed? The person will be small in height. Okay. Even sexual immaturity will be there. Sexually also the person will not develop. Sexual immaturity will also be observed there. And they will be remain dwarf, short in height. Okay. So that is the problem. If in the childhood condition, the secretion of this hormone is less. Now question comes, what happens if in the childhood condition, the secretion of this hormone is more, hypersecretion is there. Hypersecretion of GH is there. Growth hormone is increased significantly. तो क्या हो जाएगा? If in early childhood condition, the growth hormone is more in amount, then in that case, what happen? You will have the large and well proportionate body and well proportionate or proportioned body. You have might seen, every one of us is saying, yaar, at least 6 feet height to honi chahiye ladke ki. Or about the girl, we say that the height of the girl should be 5'4", 5'5", 5'6" hona hi chahiye, itni lambai to honi chahiye. Because if in a person the amount of the growth hormone is proper, then the proper growth will be there. But if the hypersecretion more than the normal is there, then the person will be tall, little bit tall, uski height thodi zyada hogi, and in that case that will be suffering from a disease, giantism. Giant means rakshas ke jaisa bada hai na, giantism. So excess of the growth hormone in early age will lead to what? Lead to the increased body height. That will be. Okay. So these all the problems of childhood condition. But suppose what happened if someone asks, sir, in you, mere andar, like I am in the age of the 47 or 48. Okay, in adulthood condition, मैं अभी adulthood condition में हूँ. And if someone asks you, sir, suppose right now in the adulthood condition, what? The hypersecretion occurs. Hypersecretion of growth hormone. Growth hormone का secretion आपके अंदर अभी ज्यादा हो जाए, तो क्या हो जाएगा? Now see, try to understand. Lengthening of my body and my bones already took place in the adolescence age or in the puberty age. जब मेरी puberty age थी तब वो body की lengthening हो चुकी, bones की lengthening हो चुकी. When the bones were growing, जब मेरी bones grow कर रही थी, तो उस समय उनकी terminal endings में यहाँ पर calcium deposition हो चुका. So now in the in the age of the 50 or in the age of the 48, my bones will not enlarges in size. अब इन bones की और lengthening नहीं हो सकती. That will not take place. Got it? तो अब मेरी body की length तो नहीं बढ़ेगी. So what? In that case, if in adulthood, if the secretion of this hormone is increased, GH is increased, then it will result in the improportionate body increase. Improportionate means my bones start growing improportionately. यहाँ से body bones जो है मेरी चौड़ी होने लग गई हैं, improportionate तरीके से grow करने लगे हैं और fine. So increase in the size of the bone of the face, increase in size of the bones or bone of the face or hand or feet will be observed. Abnormal growth दिखाई देगी, है ना? And in that way my face will be little bit abnormal kind and the person will appear similar to abnormal acromegaly. A person will suffer from a disease named as acromegaly. This is acromegaly. Okay, so these are the certain problems of the growth hormone which will be observed अगर hypersecretion या hyposecretion हो जाए.